1 week and 1 day left to pass the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Bill. Democrats demanded a tight timeline for the DHS continuing resolution. Republicans warned Democrats repeatedly that such a short timeline would be challenging, if not impossible. But to prevent Democrats from shutting down a big part of the government and denying paychecks to soldiers and federal workers, we ultimately gave it to them. Now, the onus is on Democrats to negotiate in good faith and reach an agreement quickly. Notice I said negotiate, Mr. President. This is not a blank check situation where Republicans just agree to a list of Democrat demands. Democrats had previously agreed to a Homeland Security Appropriations bill which included additional money for body cameras as well as de-escalation training for immigration and customs enforcement officers, and additional oversight funds, of funds that have already been appropriated to DHS. Those are all things that were agreed upon when that bill was initially negotiated and supported by Democrats in the House and the Senate. Well, now, Mr. President, they've reopened negotiations, and that means taking up ideas and priorities from both sides. We need to have a serious discussion about the climate of harassment and worse that law enforcement officers have been facing for simply trying to do their jobs. We also need to address the issue of cooperation between local and federal law enforcement. Too many jurisdictions prohibit local law enforcement from cooperating with immigration and customs enforcement, a situation that makes things more dangerous for everyone. The President's border czar, Tom Homan, yesterday announced that the Department of Homeland Security will be withdrawing 700 federal agents from Minnesota, in large part because of increased cooperation from local law enforcement. So I hope my Democrat colleagues are ready to have some conversations with the White House about these and other issues. The White House has demonstrated that it's taking things seriously, and it has already resulted in body cams for all officers deployed to Minneapolis and, as I said, the drawdown of federal agents thanks to the increased cooperation from local law enforcement that Tom Homan has facilitated. I want to see my Democrat colleagues take things seriously as well. Mr. President, I'd also like to remind Democrats that they are putting funding for some critical government agencies in jeopardy. TSA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Coast Guard, the Secret Service, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center are all funded by the DHS appropriations bill. I think all Americans remember the travel disaster Democrats created by shutting down the government for 43 days last fall. So Democrats failed to agree to a DHS funding bill and shut down the TSA. As a result, there's a very good chance we could see more travel problems. I'd also like to remind my Democrat colleagues that the only way to get any reforms at ICE is to agree to a bill. A CR would not include any of the reforms already included, as I said earlier, in the DHS bill, which they helped negotiate and supported before they changed their mind and didn't support it. And a CR certainly wouldn't include any new reforms. The Democrat leader was complaining about the announcement about body cams for federal officers in Minneapolis, asking why it wasn't for the whole country. Well, Mr. President, I'd like to remind him that the DHS bill we negotiated already includes money for additional body cameras, somewhere on the order of $20 million for additional body cameras. The Democrat leader also complained that he doesn't trust the administration's reforms and that we need a law. Well, getting a law is well within Democrats' power. But again, Democrats have to be willing to actually reach an agreement. If they're coming to the table demanding a blank check or refusing to consider any measures but their own, they're likely to end up with nothing, which is fine if Democrats just want a political issue. But if they actually want to do something, then again, they're going to have to be willing to reach agreement with the White House on a final bill. 1 week and 1 day more, Mr. President. That is the timeline that the Democrats demanded, and I say demanded, and actually got. They were granted. After having negotiated a 6-bill package, which included the DHS appropriations bill, they decided, no, we're not going to do that. People want to blame the White House. They want to blame Republicans. Republicans had nothing to do with that. It passed the House, the 6-bill package, including the DHS appropriations bill, with 341 votes in the U.S. House of Representatives. Almost 80% of the entire House had cleared the DHS appropriations bill that was included in the package that the Senate was going to vote on that the House had already passed. And then it came over here, and the Democrats decided to blow it up. All of a sudden, the bill that they helped negotiate and write and be a part of, which included all the reforms that I mentioned, de-escalation training, body cameras, all those things were included in the bill that they said they didn't then want to pass. So they wanted a separate discussion about those issues and demanded that if we didn't give them that, they weren't going to vote for the package. And so they got what they wanted. And then we had a debate about how long should the CR go for to allow the sides to come together behind an agreement. And I suggested, Mr. President, our side suggested that perhaps 6 weeks would be a sufficient amount of time to have an earnest negotiation with all the parties at the table, and then time to execute actually passing whatever is agreed upon across the floor of the House and the Senate and getting on the President's desk. The Democrats demanded a 2-week CR, or they wouldn't vote for the package. And so they got what they wanted, which is a 2-week continuing resolution to fund the Department of Homeland Security and the other things I mentioned, FEMA, TSA, Coast Guard, all those things, for 2 weeks. And yet they haven't appeared yet to want to negotiate on all the things that they're demanding. They put out a list of demands yesterday. Our team, our folks, have tried to get with them to sit down at the table and with the White House to reach an agreement that would enable the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill to actually be passed here in the Senate and the House and sent to the President. But that is not right now even in the realm of possibility, Mr. President, because they're not engaging. We've got a now 1 week and 1 day time frame in which to do this, which is entirely unrealistic. And a Democrat Party, both in the House and the Senate, which seems a lot less interested in getting a solution to this than they do in having a political issue. Mr. President, if for some reason the Department of Homeland Security ends up in a shutdown, it is going to be totally on them. They will own it. We have tried repeatedly. They have agreed repeatedly before they decided not to agree and to demand something else, which they also got. But as of right now, we aren't anywhere close to having any sort of an agreement that would enable us to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And so, Mr. President, I would hope that the Democrats will come to the table. The timeline that they asked for has been granted, and I hope that they are finally ready to get this done. It's important for the American people. All these agencies, Federal Emergency Management Agency, which oversees disasters in this country. We've got a number of weather-related disasters in this country that are going to require the able attention of FEMA. A lot of important agencies, Mr. President, that won't go funded if they remain in this posture of resisting anything that doesn't give them all of their demands. But worse yet, Mr. President, not only insisting on all the demands, most of which are, as they know, very unrealistic and unserious, but perhaps even more important than that, at least as of right now, not even willing to engage in a negotiation and discussion to try and reach a result. Mr. President, I hope that changes. I want to get this done. We want to get this done. I hope that there are Democrats who also want to get this done. And I know the President of the United States is prepared to sign a bill once these negotiations get underway and we reach an agreement.
Man, I'm just having fun here in the comment section. Man, it is crazy. Hey, let me show you this. He probably watching us right now. He probably hating. And check this out. I made this post early this morning, early this afternoon. You probably seen it, right? Remember that post,
Yeah.
right? So we have this guy. His name is JJ Chavez, and he posted this, right? Like, you know, let me see right here,
Yeah.
saying gay.
Gay.
Yeah, yeah.
Gay. Hey. What's wrong with that? So
Hey,
he's homophobic?
I don't know. I post this about him. All right, guy.
Is that
Hey,
is that how is that how he looks like?
nah, no, he looked like this. Like he looked like this. He's all tough, like uh
Wait, there you go.
getting that. And that's the before, and this is the after. He's looking at his twig arm. That's what I would say, little twig, little, and I post that picture about and he got served with the ice, baby. Here we go. So I know you live in Willis, so don't let me don't make me get that bounty money because I can find out where you live real quick.
Hey, it's crazy, Julio. It is
It
crazy.
is fun. I have fun with it. I care less. It just like they just like they think like I'm gonna get mad about it. I just laugh about it. That's like let me reply with something good, and I just
You know, I had somewhat of a moment like that in the morning. I was around 6 in the morning. I had posted. I don't know if you remember. I think it was last night about the whole that it passed the house and
yes,
to
I saw
vote
the
for
post. Yeah.
voter ID. And I was going to the Senate, so I was like, yeah, let's go, and I shared it to my neighbors because hey, I think is good, and if you don't like it, move on, and if you don't, if you don't mind commenting on it, and you don't like it, then let me know, and that's what everybody is
Right.
doing. But one of the biggest things, and then that's when I posted around 7 another one similar, because overwhelmingly, Julio, there was so many people that were like fixated that because there's voter ID, they're like illegals can't vote anyways. How is this and that and about the illegals and all that illegal immigrants, right?
Right.
Because there can be such a thing of illegal votes, but um, they were talking about illegal immigrants or undocumented people, whatever, that they can't vote. And I'm like, why do you resort like if I'm saying I want voter ID, why are
Hmm.
you at like a default resorting to thinking that because I want voter ID that I'm only fixated on undocumented or illegal people voting? And it's like, how is that the only thing you think of when I'm saying I want voter ID? Like there's a more obvious reason why I want voter ID. One, if I'm Robert and I'm not getting voter ID, I would like to place my vote here in Harris County. Here's my address. And I'm using Bob Dylan or somebody's address, right? And I'm voting for Bob Dylan, a 95-year-old man, or it could be somebody that just doesn't care to vote, and somehow he's registered to vote, and I'm going to vote on his behalf, and I'm going to vote Democrat, right? And then I'm like, okay, that's Harris County. Let me go to another voting booth, Liberty
Right.
County, and then I use somebody's address in Liberty County, and I'm not illegal. I'm legal, right? But who's to say that I mean, no one's IDing me, right? And of course, in Texas, which that's not an issue in Texas, because in Texas they do I ask for your ID, so you get your ID and to vote in
You have to
Texas.
register
Yeah,
too. You have the
and
voter
yeah,
roll.
in Texas, that's not a problem. We are talking about national wide, like we're
Right.
talking federally, like we're talking California. In California, it's illegal for a pollster to ask you for an ID.
That's
So, that's what I'm saying. Like, because we want ID, it has nothing to do, or we're not trying to say that there's illegals, which I'm
mhm.
sure there is, because if there's dead animals or dogs voting, which we found that, there's got to, come on, you telling me now it might be a small number, but there's a big majority of the number of people that are voting more than 6 times under different names of people that really didn't get up to go vote, or maybe they're not alive, or maybe they're elderly and somebody's voting for them
I
and
know.
deciding what
That's
to
happening.
vote.
Look at Fulton County. They discovered they have mail-in ballots scanned and perfectly, um, the little squares that you kind of like fill in
Yep.
for your candidate. They were
Yep.
perfectly feeling like you printed out. It was like mechanically black, just like marked. And but those ballots does not have any crease on them. They will never fold. They just like straight paper.
Yep.
And they were mailing ballots, and they found that on Fulton County, like a lot of them. And that's the stuff that we are finding now, and people are saying, "Oh, there is no fraud," but there is fraud, and they just like scratching the surface on Fulton County. I can't wait for the forensic report on the machines, because remember last time they have this guy, uh, he had a machine that can actually scan those ballots and see where they were print and all that stuff,
Yep.
and they didn't allow that in court, and they throw that evidence away. They didn't want to do it, and now they had the full right to do it. And I can't wait for them to scan those ballots, see where they were scanned, or they were mechanically produced, or were they actually human that produce it. And that would be like, bro, if they find out that there were those ballots were print, bro,
Hey,
it's gonna be crazy, crazy 2026.
and the other thing that they should implement, and I hope the Trump administration does this. I mean, again, I'm discouraged with the DOJ who's running
Mhm.
it, but if she would get off her butt and actually do something, at least do this. Where, look what Dinesh D'Souza. Shout out to Dinesh when he made the 2,000 mules. They touched into something, and if you haven't seen it, I would
Right.
give
I saw
you.
it. It was pretty good. I
Yeah,
bought
it's a very good, yeah, it's a very good movie. And basically, they're using this data tracking on your phones. And obviously these voluntary pollsters have to give their information and whatnot, and you can track their cell phone and ping them, and you can see that they're doing, where they're going and everything. And again, that's something that the DOJ and the FBI need to be investigating. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
Yep.
saying that, hey, say that, oh, they're guilty, so whatever. No, but there's probable cause. There's something foolishness going on. Let's get to the bottom of it. Same thing with again, I hate to bring this up. I said I was done with it, but the DOJ, come on, man. Pam Bondi, do something. She was doing nothing but word salad. She's like Kamala 2.0. I just got to say that because eh, you know, and that's the thing. I'm a Trump supporter 100%, but I will call when it's wrong, it's wrong. I don't care who it is. We're not like the Democrats or the leftists who will just ignore when our own people are doing something wrong. We got to call it out. We're not like them. They're brainwashed. They will follow the herd regardless of what evil they're doing.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy. Let me, man. Now people talking about they might close the government again tonight since they didn't come to an agreement today. So
And is that on the Senate or in the House? The
I
Senate,
guess,
right? Because it already went to the House.
yeah, yeah, they're talking about the resolution of maybe closing again the government, and and it is what it is. If it have to be closed for a couple days, couple weeks, I mean, we went to 43 days. What worse could it get? You know what I mean? Just a couple more days.
Hey,
I'm happy with that. I mean,
doesn't does
we
doesn't that
get back
affect
to
you?
normal. Hmm?
Doesn't that affect you? No? Okay.
Nah, it does not affect me. If it does, who cares?
You'll get it back basically
I
because
get it back.
they reimburse you, right?
Yeah, I get it back. But those retirements for us, they're already locked in for the year. It would bother me if it was
The active.
no for the end of the year, they like the October resolution.
Yeah.
It might be affected because it before the election, and they cover the whole fiscal year. But to me, it does not affect me. I'm trying to find a video of the Fulton County election.
Well,
Uh,
while you're
uh,
looking for it, can I show you a clip of how I feel?
Go ahead.
Let me just show you this. I apologize in advance, but I think this man deserves this right here. I mean, he was telling it how it is, but nobody listened.
Fucking admit they're fucking killing already more kids, so you're telling me it isn't real when they had a fucking vote in the goddamn fucking Senate.
That's a conspiracy theory.
I am ready to be sure
That's a conspiracy theory.
That's how I feel, guys. Alex Jones, he was telling us then. That was back then, and they were saying conspiracy, conspiracy. Even that guy said conspiracy.
He was telling us, and he was screaming to the wind, and nobody believed him.
Yeah.
Nobody believed him.
Even when he said they're making the frogs gay, it was actually true. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, oh man, he did an interview at PBD podcast. Shout out to
Oh,
Patrick Bet David. Yep.
yeah. Hey, show that video that you sent me. That was funny.
The word salad.
Nah, the actual drinking water.
Oh, okay, yeah, hold on. Oh man. Was that let's see, hold on. Mm. Oh man, that's so
Let's see if I
funny.
can- Where is that video of him talking about getting this election fraud?
Yeah, the Fulton County. That is just crazy, dude.
It is disgusting the way people say it did not exist, but it did.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So let me see. But anyway, we are talking about now the probably imminent closing of the government. What do you think about that, Robert?
Well, okay,
Because
so
that is
I'm
crazy.
kind
I
of
mean, like, how bad could it get? And we know. I mean, we knew this. We have the hunch that we are like, if we had to close, we're just kicking the can down the road. We might have it again, and boom, not even 2 months, 3 months later, there we have this. Where we at again? Square one. And I don't know.
you,
Do you
you
think
know,
this affect us as a country again? Are we are going to be closed for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months?
so here's the thing. I believe that the government will shut down, but it's not going to be shut down for too long. And only because the midterms are coming,
Mm-hmm.
and the Democrats are kind of, and I don't want to jinx ourselves, but they're kind of not in a bad spot. The Democrats, as much as we're saying that there is or whatever, people right now are pissed at the administration because of the failure of Pam Bondi and with the DOJ, and it just, with that being said, if they move things there, it wouldn't hurt them, but it would hurt the Democratic Party if they shut it down again. So I have a feeling they're gonna move on. It's not gonna be a big shutdown. And honestly, what will wind up happening is they'll pass the Save Act. And my prediction is, which I hope I'm 100% wrong, Julio, but my prediction is we've lost some voters from the center left that voted for Donald Trump. And so they might vote for left in the midterms. And that might be a sad thing for us.
Do you think?
So
Do you think that will be a detriment for the midterms? Do you think that would be a factor for us to think about, like,
yeah,
we may have to conceive in one or two concessions and just to get it passed, to kick it again, probably kick it again down the road, and summer again we're thinking about closing the government once more. Do you think that will happen again?
but that's what I'm saying. I don't think like right now, if they close the government, I don't think it's gonna close as long as we think it will, because if but then again, the Democrats might not use this opportunity, but it would benefit them if they don't close, if they're don't take responsibility, because the first shutdown that passed in this beginning of the year, yeah, it was them 100%, and everybody knew it. So, but I don't know, man. I think it's messed up because, you know, it's just not right, dude. They
I know.
should they if they should put some. There's got to be some people in Congress that would write up a legislation that if they shut. Wait, what the heck? Sorry, that was my iPad decided to start talking to me. I did not call you Siri. But anyways, someone to write up a legislation and come up with something that if they shut the government down, the senators, the congressmen, they don't get paid. They don't get to use any government money. Like, if they decide to, like, hey, I'm going back to the States, so I'm gonna use my transportation, whatever the government funds for them to travel back and forth, remove that, all the credit cards, cancel them until they come up with the solution to open the government up. Because right now, I mean, last time they just said, well, I'm going home to my state, screw them. No one's there, no one's in the chamber. It was just the Republicans. They were there waiting and waiting, and they just need if the government shuts down, they need to have everything shut down as well for them. That's my opinion. And legislation should, that should be written up and voted into the House for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's play this video and we talk about this is in the Senate. Just take a look.
Look at what would happen if the Democrats get their way. And you can see from their leaders, they are clamoring for another government shutdown. If the Democrats shut down the Department of Homeland Security, they're claiming it's about defunding ICE. But as they know, and as you know, in the Working Families Tax Cut, we funded ICE through the rest of President Trump's term. So ICE is funded. But what is not funded if the Democrats get their way? They will literally shut down funding for disaster relief in FEMA in the middle of a storm that in New York City alone, you want to see what socialism gets you, 18 people now have frozen to death under the leadership of the socialist Mandami. That's what Democrat leadership gets you. They want to shut down TSA. So just take Atlanta's airport, LaGuardia. Those two airports alone, having been shut down, if the Democrats get their way, will wreak havoc with tens of millions of Americans who just want to go see their family members, want to travel for a wedding, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're trying to start a small business and want to go to another city to try to create some jobs. They won't be able to do that because Democrats want to have a tantrum, not to defund ICE, because again, ICE is fully funded, but just because they want to cause chaos in America to get open.
Yeah, that's a very typical strategy
Yeah,
from the Democratic Party. I
yeah.
mean,
Why they always why they always go into that route? Why they always take that route of let the people suffer so they can push their elected officials so they can bend the knee. Like why they always using the people as a political pawn. It's like and I said it for both sides. Both sides do it. I'm just being plain honest with you. But the left, they overuse their hands. They always do.
well, okay, so it's kind of like those people that like Hamas.
Mm.
That's the Democratic Party in a nutshell. They're
Pretty much.
Hamas. They put the women and children in front of them and they hide behind.
And they start
That's
throwing
the
rocks over
Democratic
them.
Party.
Yeah.
And see, we are the type that we try to throw the bomb and it's in a parking lot near a hospital because Hamas's base camp is right there, and we blow that up, and the hospital crumbles. And when we shut down the government, we're not trying to hurt Americans. We're trying just to shut certain things that are gonna hinder to make our point. So it's a little different, but the Democrats will be quick to be putting you in front of them, and then they're letting you just like Hamas. They just
Take the
want you to
hit. Yeah.
take the hit.
You take the hit while they just enjoying the luxury because they continue to get paid. Their money won't the money flow will not stop and they happen all over like more than ever. And I think they using that as I would say as a
Leverage.
voucher points
Oh,
for the elections because they're gonna show that so much. They're gonna keep rolling that tape of look on the Republicans, the
there was
government
shutdown.
was shut down 6 times. They could not get their act together. I mean, they're gonna use that, and you will see it coming in September. They're gonna play that 20 times every 25 minutes. I mean, they're
Yeah,
gonna overplay their hand. Like, look at the government. They're just
they're
ineffective.
they're using Hillary Clinton's uh they're using Hillary Clinton's playbook. Don't let no crisis go to
Go to waste.
waste.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Let me see. I got a video for you. And this is the video that I was talking to you about. I think this is a senator from Georgia. And I don't know which affiliation he's in, but he's talking about the fraud. And he might be Republican, he might not. I don't know. I just I listen what he has to say and kind of sound reasonable.
All right, y'all. Yesterday, I made a serious allegation on the floor of the Georgia State Senate that Fulton County's voter rolls have been, and continue to be a complete mess. And today, we're going to bring you the receipts. Currently, in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to be registered to vote from anywhere other than your primary residence. Can't register to vote at UPS stores, can't register to vote at homeless shelters, can't register to vote under an overpass. But today, and this is as of the January 5th Fulton County voter rolls, about 70 people are registered to vote right here. We're going to bring you a couple more locations to show you that this is not an anomaly. Fulton County has got to get their act together. All right, y'all, this is 850 Oak Street in Fulton County, and there are 19 people registered to vote at
Damn.
this abandoned house. And so again, this is on the Fulton County Registrar. They've got to clean up their voting rolls. This is not a new problem. And remember, back in 2020, absentee ballot request forms were sent to every single registered voter, including at locations just like this. All right, so we are at 1445 Woodmont Lane, physicaladdress.com. 138 people registered to vote. But I've got a treat for you. This is Jason Frazier. Jason, come on in the frame here. Jason
Hello.
is the guy that's done all of the heavy lifting on this. He and David Kate are the two folks that brought this to my attention.
Wow.
Jason, how hard was it to figure out that you had thousands of people in Fulton County registered to vote from illegal voting locations?
It's not that difficult. The hardest part is getting a copy of the voter rolls. I mean, not everybody wants to spend $485 for the statewide voter roll, but essentially once you get it, just sort it based on number of people at one address. And this one jumped real far out of the page because there's 138 people registered to vote here. And when we turn the camera, you'll see it's just it looks like it used to be a house, but now it's a commercial virtual mailbox. So I can't fathom there's 138 beds in that house, so they can't be registered to vote there.
Here's the thing, Jason, that's really compelling to me. The county has every piece of zoning information. They know this is a commercial location. They obviously can do easy database sorting and searching. You also, though, have identified 1,000 people that were born in the year 1900 that are on the Fulton County voter rolls. You've identified a couple hundred other people that very much seem to be the same person, same name, same address. I'm sorry, same date of birth.
Yeah.
And tell us about some of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of folks across Georgia who show 1800 or 1900 as their date of birth, which means what I've heard is that means they don't know their date of birth. If Fulton County or anywhere in the state, they don't know your date of birth, how can they be checking to see if you're a legal resident? And a lot of these, we were talking about the duplicates, they'll have two people registered at the same address with the same year of birth in slight variations of their names. So maybe it's Bob and Robert, maybe it's Bob and Bob. And it's clearly the same person at that address. But if you've got typos in somebody's name and you don't know their date of birth, how in the world do we know they're a U.S. citizen? And that just needs to be cleaned up so we can verify everything.
And here's the last thing I'd like to say: the fact that people like Jason and David and a number of other people, from Derek Somerville to Mark Davis to Philip Davis, have had to do this kind of work on their own is frankly absurd. The Fulton County Registrar, this is their job. They are the ones that are supposed to keep the voter rolls clean. And like I've said before, and Fonnie Willis got mad when I said it, it's always Fulton County. And Fulton County has got to get their act cleaned up. Jason, thank you for the work that you guys have done. Super, super grateful.
Thank you.
I'm going to head to the next location, and I think we're heading next to maybe a homeless shelter. But ironically, there's a homeless shelter across the street from the Capitol with 1,900 people.
Yeah, they've had as many as 2,300, 2,400 is most I've seen. And I mean, you can go right on their website. They don't have that many beds. This is the problem.
All right, this is 477 Peachtree Street. There's 70 people registered to vote here. It's a homeless shelter that closed in 2017. All right, y'all, here we are, 2625 Piedmont, another UPS store, 96 registered voters right here in direct violation of Georgia law. Not hard to find for us. Really pretty hard to find for Fulton County.
That is insane, brother.
Dude.
That's insane. And that's it's just a few portions of the border rolls, and I don't know, like if something is wrong with your address, like there should be it should be a protocol of verifying those people and sending out letter and basically say, hey, you have to show up in person with your ID card to this location before this date. If not, you're gonna be dropped out of the voting rolls, whatever. And it should be that simple. If you don't show up, they go through their checked people already. Okay, these people haven't checked. We're gonna just delete them from the voter rolls. That's simple. That's simple. If they don't show up, that's how you clean them up. I don't know how hard it is just to clean up your voting rolls, and it's either incompetence or just plain malicious intent of not doing it in order just to keep the fraud going.
I would say it's malicious, and the only way I would say this is because I wish you could see how many of those votes went all to the left.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
tried to
mean?
find the video, and it's 99% to the left.
So that's what I'm saying. So then it's malicious because that anomaly cannot exist that much. So you can't be negligent. Like if it was negligent, you would have right and left. Like it would be
mixed.
Yeah, it would
It
be
should be
mixed. But you have only one side. This is This is malicious intent for sure. This is
Yeah.
why, and then now it makes sense why the Democrats are like, no, 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 they don't want this. You're removing again. Your gut tells you about Epstein was true, and we're seeing the files is true. Now your
Mhm.
gut's telling you about the Democrats cheating.
There you have it.
When you know, you know.
I know, and that is a recurrent. I think Fulton County, in my opinion, will be a ground zero once these all these allegations come to court and then being proved to be right. Once they are proved to be right in the court, in court, and everybody seeing the documents and they certify like, hey, yeah, it happens, and all these people start getting arrested, and start changing, the SOPs for those counties, and start getting the voter rolls clean and all that stuff. It would be That would be the start of many other counties getting, like Arizona, Maricopa County. It's one of the most corrupt places to vote, because you seen it in 2020. They kicked people out of the line. They were in line waiting, and they were telling just go to different location because the machines were broke. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember
Go
that.
to a different location,
And
and
then when
then
they went, the other place, the machine broke down. They go to the other place, go back, and they would go back. Oh, we're closed. But
yep,
sorry.
and a lot of people didn't vote, and they start voting, putting boards on the windows so nobody can see, and a lot of shenanigans happened, and a lot of people were mad, and that was totally illegal. They start kicking out Republicans, poll watchers out of the voting places. Remember that?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that was crazy. 2020.
And
That was
also, the other
crazy,
thing
crazy.
too, is that uh everybody that went to vote on the polls and not do the whole mail-in ballots
Mhm.
were Republicans. So
That's true. That is true.
mm,
I have these other videos talking about the closing of the government tonight. It's happening tonight, I believe. I had to double check on that. I just saw a news that might happen tonight, might happen tomorrow, but I had to double check. Take a
yeah,
look at this video.
yeah, I'll do, yep.
You know what would make people's blood boil? If they knew what was actually going on here. The Democrats are about to shut down the Department of Homeland Security budget bill, which includes, by the way, that approach bill includes money for FEMA and TSA. They're going to shut that down and then get to fly to Munich on the taxpayer dime and trash President Trump's foreign policy to Europeans. They should not be going to Europe. This shouldn't be happening. It's ridiculous. They're using this policy debate to hold up funding. If you want to have your ridiculous proposals, your 21-point plan that kneecaps ICE, it'll lose. But let's have the policy debate. You don't get to hold up funding for that, and we should say hell no to it.
Man, that is crazy. It is happening. It's just I think this is struggle in power, like always. Who has the most power, who has most leverage. But at the end of the day, as we see improving, Donald Trump will step in and will make the left eat their words, and basically make him bend the knees. Donald Trump always come up with something that actually, all of a sudden, the left start agreeing with to move forward, because it happened for 43 days. They were thinking Donald Trump was not bending the knees, and at the end of the day, Chuck Schumer ended up bending the knee, and then the squad got mad. You saw AOC,
Yep.
Ayanna Presley, all these people getting mad to Chuck Schumer. But at the end of the day, it's just a struggle, power struggle, and it's just theatrics. I would not believe this probably lasts a week or two at the most.
Yeah. It
At the
says It says here, the House and Senate aren't scheduled to return until February 23rd, raising the prospect of the DHS shutdown for at least 10 days. But they could return sooner if there's a bill to vote on. So,
I don't think they would. I mean, I would think they would just they would just move on to the to reopen the government once Donald Trump step in and start talking to them, because it's always happened. They just like it's just theatrics. They just want to close it, like I told you, to use it as a weapon further down the road. That's all. They just they just put in obstacles and after obstacle just to make the the left, the Republicans fumble, and they will be blaming the Republicans in the midterms. Like they shut down the
yeah,
government
so they
several
could
times.
say, yeah, so they say, yeah, they're going to say, see, the government shut down. And then if there's a disaster, FEMA couldn't fund it and yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. So
It's
it's
all
just
about
like,
Republicans and all that stuff and yada yada yada. And same old, same old. It's nothing new. Everybody knows.
mm.
So let me play this last video of the uh, closing of the government. Just take a look. It's short.
During the 43-day shutdown, you made the decision to not have the House in for almost the entirety of that. If DHS shuts down, do you plan to keep the recess next week? Do you plan to keep the House out? Do you plan to bring them back? How are you planning to handle it?
Well, I'm not going to forecast what will happen because we don't know. The scenario I just painted for you is the one I expect. No deal yet, but I mean, I do believe that at least the White House is operating in good faith, and I can testify to that because I was just with the group and the president himself. We'll see how the Democrats receive that. This would be different than the full government shutdown for 43 days. And we will do whatever is necessary. Republicans will do whatever is necessary to get the government open. If it looks like we have an opportunity to do that, then I would press for it. If it's a short-term CR, that would cover next week. People have very important events in their districts, serving their constituents, doing that hard work, and that's always of high importance and high priority. So we'll have to make that decision depending on the circumstances as they develop, so stay tuned. Appreciate y'all being here so much. Thank you so much.
There you have it. They try to keep it open. It just a struggle. I don't think like I said, I don't think it will last a couple of weeks, maybe 2 at the most, and then we'll be back in business. But let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Man, it's almost an hour already.
I know.
Went fast today.
It went really fast.
It went fast today, brother. What are we having for next week? What are your thoughts? Like what event will occur next week? Because something new pop up every freaking week in this government.
Man, to be
What are your bets? What are you betting on for next week?
Man, to be honest with you, I think something might happen with Iran. You know, I mean, it's been awfully quiet, and Bibi Netanyahu, didn't he just sit with Donald Trump to strategize of what their next move is, or is about to sit down with Donald Trump? I forgot, but whatever it is, it almost seems like I think something in that event might happen. But who could tell? You know, I mean, hey, this president term has been very crazy and eventful, for sure, to say the least. A lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff from the left, from their own selves. So
I know it is. It's going crazy. We have a lot of stuff going. We have psychopath doing another school shooting in Canada.
I was about to play this video right now of see how he's disturbed a Jesse, an 18-year-old Canadian who transitioned from male to female 6 years ago.
Video? I have it here too.
He shot his mother.
What?
And his brother.
Before he going to school?
Before, he killed them, and then he went to school to kill 6 more people. And look at this guy. These transgender people are deranged. They're sick in the head. I'm gonna turn it down because it might be a little bit hard. See, look, check this out. This individual here. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Man, that guy is
That's
crazy.
demonic. That is
Yeah. See,
demonic.
I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua. Jesse, an 18-year-old Canadian who transitioned from male to female 6 years ago, shot his mother and brother on February 10th, killing them. He then went to school, killing 6 and injured 25 before
Wow.
ending his own life by shooting himself inside the school. Again, my understanding is Canadians have the hardest gun laws, right? So
Yes, I do. They had the strictest gun laws, worse than California.
this clearly shows that those stupid gun laws do not work. Criminals will do what criminals
Whatever.
do.
They will find a way, whatever it takes, to do evil. And look what happened. We have what 8 people murdered that day and 25 injured. That is demonic, bro. That is straight out of the movie demonic.
I know.
He's not mentally ill. He's just demonic. People will say he has mental issues. No, nah.
Yeah,
That is
he's so much
Satan.
demonic.
That is Satan with him. And that's crazy, bro. That is insane. And I had the same video. I just watching it here. And man. Oh, by the way, I have one video of the same lady that we played last time. Remember the Prometheus?
The alien. Yeah.
The lady. Yeah, I have a video of her talking about the word gaming to steal the 26 midterms, and they admit it. Let me play this video real quick. Let me show you. I got it right here. Yes, I do. Oh, this is a part 2. Snap. Let me see. Let me see if I can find part 1. Let me look it up right here.
You know what? Meanwhile, let me play while you're looking that up. Let me play Candace Owens' reaction. Why you keep looking it up? Don't even remove it out of the screen. But here goes. This is Candace Owens reacting to Pam Bondi, like basically what we did. But it's funny because she
and we got hit. We got hate in our page because we question
from our own people. But here we go. Look, check this out.
That's what you did. You made a joke, and I find it offensive.
I want it.
That's all I have to say.
I want it from the burn book.
Shame.
I want it from the burn book, which is the best one. What you got?
That's all she had to say to him. Shame. Shame. Shame on you for telling the truth about what we have put the public through, what we have put our supporters through, the people that believed in us, who wanted to get to the answers, who, they took us to this line because we wanted to see how power works. Instead, we're protecting people that are in the files. Howard Lutnick's practically running Trump's administration. Bibi Netanyahu, Howard Lutnick's all over the world with Jared Kushner. He's just been protecting his homies. And she's got shame on you because you didn't. He did not mock the Bible in any way. That's what she's got. Yeah, she's got a little bit more too, by the way, because I guess she thought this was going to work. And I actually appreciate this next response from Pam Bondi, her perspective on it, because I think it's
in
honest.
a Trump retruth.
I appreciate it because it's honest. Take a listen.
They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow.
Yeah,
is
that
over
was the weirdest part right
50,000
there.
right now. The S&P at almost 7.
Did you see that though? I mean, that was the clip that I was looking for right there, where she just went because Donald Trump, and it was awkwardly, and then she says the Dow. Dude.
Why she want to go? Why we are talking about the DOJ and their functions, and we were questioning her about what we have done, and in the justice overall, and they're talking about the files. Why she went straight to the next exit of economics? Like she had
didn't
nothing
even,
to do.
yeah, she didn't even transition it good. Look,
Like she just went straight to the solo, and I'm like, and I'm telling you, Robert, we got a lot of heat in our Facebook because I posted something like that. I actually questions like why she went straight to the right and just exited the highway of the Epstein files and went straight to the economics. And I was like, hey, I'm just as a concerned citizen, we should ask about this. Like, why is nothing done about it? Like, okay, Obama didn't do nothing about it. Donald Trump, he was arrested under Donald Trump. That's fine. Biden didn't do nothing about it. He didn't prosecute nobody. And what we have to keep doing the same thing that others administration did. Like,
Exactly.
we should do something and put a precedence of, you know what? Forget about everybody else. Let's do what is to be
Right.
done. Let's do the right thing, which is prosecute everybody involved, interview people, gather more evidence, and if arrest needs to be made, so be it. That's
Exactly.
all we're asking. We're not swinging to the left. We're just asking like what we are not doing anything now. Why we are just like diverting the conversation to economy or the weather or whatever case may be. But this subject need to be addressed. This Epstein's file is not going away. I will not stop talking about it. I will not, because basically it's just being complicit. If we just stop talking about it, and
We're as guilty as those
guilty.
people, man.
We are guilty, honestly. And I'm not going for that. I'm trying to like, because like I said it when I did my reels a couple days back, and I show you the reel
Yep.
about this is the opportunity for the DOJ, Kash Patel, and he dropped the ball since day one, stating there is nothing to see here. There is no implications in the Epstein files, not even 8 months ago. And now look forward. There is a bunch of people in there, like the Victoria's Secret CEO was in there involved with the Epstein since way back. Steve Bannon. You have Elon Musk. You have a lot of other people. Chris Tucker.
Erica's Kirk's mom. You know, it's just, or Erica, whatever her last name, France.
France K, whatever. And what has been done? Oh, we just forget about it. Like, man, whatever. If I'm telling you, if the system needs to be burned to the ground because we put 20 people in jail and they're running the different agencies and companies, so be it. Let it burn.
Let it burn. Let it burn.
I guarantee you, those companies will not be suffering.
Like
those
Usher said, let it burn.
Those companies are public companies. They can put another CEO on top and keep on going. That's simple. They have boards of members. They have people they have to pay the money to, and I guarantee you, they're gonna put another CEO. They're gonna apologize, like, "Hey, we are not involved. Whatever that guy was involved with or in, and we put a new CEO, and the company will just keep moving along. I guarantee you, the world is not going to end. But we need to put those people in jail if needs be, because there's a lot of documents and a lot of evidence. Not only emails, but it's videos, images. that they were doing bad stuff.
Yep.
So I do not know why it's taking so long to put these people in jail. I don't know why we have to wait almost 20 years to put people in jail, like Bill Gates, because Bill Gates been there since like he didn't have a gray hair.
Yep.
From what I see in the pictures, he was there like for at
Very
least
young.
30 years in it.
Yep.
So why are we not doing nothing? That is Pam Bondi to answer. Like why?
Yeah, because she's this is all on her. All on her.
Why are we not doing anything? That's what people are asking. People are asking why.
But you know, let me play this clip one more time. Just that part, and I'm taking it down because this is embarrassing right here.
$50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
Here, right here.
The Dow is
Right here.
about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000.
Again. And she even smirks because they're laughing at her because she just messed up and she knows she got caught of doing something. So
Trump signed
look,
that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history.
Oh, good.
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over.
Look at that.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why.
The Dow. Oh my gosh, she is just embarrassing, Julio.
I know. And I'm telling you, and this is like, I'm not. I know. We just
anyway. Yeah.
But this is like I told you, Robert. This is not a left, right, or a left thing or right thing. This is not the Democrat or Republican. This is just for the truth. I just want justice.
That's it.
I have children. You do, and a lot of people who watch this have children too. And I guarantee you, they will be mad as hell if their children was one of the victims and nothing is done.
Yep.
I cannot put myself on those parents' shoes. I cannot put myself on those in their shoes because I would go crazy if my son or my daughter become missing overnight. I would not sleep. I would go crazy because seeing why these people what these people are doing on those emails and on the images, my mind could not fathom what my daughter or my son going through. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people do not care about this subject because it's not they're not emotionally involved. They don't have skin in the game. They might not have children. They might not even care. But I do.
And you know what, Julio? Hold on. That is a conversation that needs to be had because you are absolutely right. See, it's almost, I'm telling you, and I think I told you this off camera, and I told this to my wife, and I'm going to say it to the world right now. It's like we're being orchestrated by this. This makes sense why these deep state operatives, rhinos, Democrats, whatever you want to call them, they have been destroying the family nucleus. Get rid of mom and dad and have two moms and two dads, or don't have a dad at all, right? And promote all this like you just said right now. And then guess what? They're teaching the kids, start your career first, don't have any kids, don't have any family, start your kids. And how many cat ladies are out there? And, you know, I'm not saying that to make fun of them. It's just depressing. How many of those people that are 35 to 40 that had no kids, no family, so they can't relate to this? This is why they're not outraged about this. What you just touched on, Julio, is a conversation that needs to be had, but I don't think the world's ready for it. Because the thing is, they're not having kids, right? So they can't relate. We, like you just said right now, we can put our thoughts and actually dream and have nightmares about this, where our kids get trafficked or whatever. And it's a nightmare. It's the worst feeling you could ever feel. But those people that don't have kids, they can't even imagine that because they don't know what that feels. So we got a bunch of grown man children or woman children that are out there being an adults, have no kids, and it's a lot of them. It's very alarming. And guess what? They don't really care about this. This doesn't matter. And the older generation that have grandchildren, they don't care either because they're just like, well, we went through some issues too, and we were able to move on. But this is different. This is something that's evil that is going through, that we're finding out that is just evil because some of us been donating money to these child World Vision place and all that, and they're all part of
UNICEF and all those people.
yeah, and we're funding the people that are harming children. So it's devastating, and it's an evil. And like I said, it's all it almost seems like it's all manufactured by design because they're showing you this like, here, hey, here's the documents right here. I mean, go ahead. What are you going to do about it? You guys don't care enough. And the ones that do care, we're out here protecting our own family, working to pay our bills, to feed them, right? So we're stuck in real life issues, but then forget that that's also real life issues. So it's just it's a conversation this is what I'm saying. America's not ready for it because to fix that, I mean, we need to be outraged, just like you guys were outraged for George Floyd or whatever his name was. I keep messing up his name, for the BLM, and you guys were blowing up your own cities. We need to be outraged that much or more, but we're obviously too comfortable.
Nobody cares because it's not their children, bro. It's not their children.
Yeah.
Let's watch this lady. She's fantastic, and let me pull out her name again, because I keep forgetting. Her name is Susan.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, Susan Condite, I believe, and she is amazing. How she described the war game on the 2026 midterms. Just take a look.
It wasn't because of a racist meme. It was the fear that their 2026 election rigging plans are being exposed. Because just like in the last two presidential elections, the globalists are wargaming the 2026 midterms, and we just caught them admitting it. Now, if you listen to the left, that retruth was proof that Donald Trump is a racist. If you listen to parts of the MAGA sphere, it was just Trump trolling the Obamas. They're both missing the point. That post was about fraudulent elections, and the president himself said it.
If you take a look at that and see the whole thing, it was a small section at the very end, but that was about fraudulent elections, which we have a lot of them. We're going to get it stopped. And I liked the beginning. I saw it and just passed it on. And I guess probably nobody reviewed the end of it because what I saw at the beginning was really, really strong. It was about fraudulent elections. And anytime I see that stuff and when it's credible, you put it up. But somebody slipped and missed a very small part.
The reason the establishment went into overdrive wasn't the 2 seconds they played on loop. It's because the Trump administration is now moving on every front to plug the holes in our election system. From DNI Director Gabbard's role in Georgia, to the fight for the SAVE Act to make sure only citizens vote, to the president's idea that the federal government should run elections in 15 states. Because everything rides on the midterms. The globalists know that if they can't stop a MAGA victory in 2026, they won't be able to stop the American system from coming back. And that terrifies them more than anything else Donald Trump is doing. I'm Susan Kokinda. I've been fighting vote fraud since the Carter election in 1976, when I saw a federal judge rule that our evidence did prove massive vote fraud in New York, but Jimmy Carter still became president. So I know what the score is, and I know that securing the 2026 midterms for Donald Trump is being fought on a much bigger battlefield than most people understand. So if you want to fight on that battlefield, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so we can stay in touch and expand our reach. Here's what I'm going to cover today. First, I'm going to expose the empire's midterm election strategy to delegitimize Trump and his policies before a single vote is cast. Second, how that strategy was already being tested in places like Texas. And third, how the Trump administration's revival of the American system is the weapon that defeats it. So let's go back to that racist post. Because 99% of that retruth was about the 2020 election and how the vote count stopped on election night in key states, and how Donald Trump's lead was then reversed as Democratic votes materialized out of thin air. The media doesn't want you to see that part because the Trump administration is now moving on every mechanism that was used to do it, like the FBI raid on the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections with DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard's presence, and the possible smoking gun evidence from Venezuela, where the arrest of Maduro may have provided hard proof of foreign interference, and all of the other efforts to force the states to clean up their voter rolls. But what has really put the elites into high gear is the president's suggestion that the federal government should run elections in 15 states. That has set the empire's election propaganda machine into overdrive. Look at this headline in Mother Jones: Project 2026, Trump's plan to rig the next election. And Amnesty International has just released a video showing a dystopian America, warning of human rights crisis under Trump as voting rights face 2026 midterm threats. Now, I want you to listen to Michael Waldman of the Brennan Center speaking in an interview with The Atlantic magazine. But before you do, let's remember what the Brennan Center did in 2024.
Before she move on to the next video, I wanted to just comment on this. Do you see, Robert, how the left always bring the humanitarian crisis? Why they always bring climate, and why they always bring some nonsense? Like, what that has to do with voting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just hyper focusing on something that is just, again, they're just good with titles. They're good with titles, and they're like, haha, this crush water bottle and Save the Women Act, right? But I'm stealing money behind you and you don't even know it. You know what I mean? They're just like they're really good at titles. They're really good at
hyping.
Hyping up something that isn't even has to do anything with. It's kind of like what Pam Bondi did, basically. Had nothing to do with it and just jumped the Dow. I mean, it's just crazy, dude.
I know. They are an expert on gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's watch this video.
It was at the heart of the tabletop wargaming exercises to plot how to deny Trump a re-election victory. And here they go again.
The difference now, of course, is for the first time, I think, in American history, the federal government and the Trump administration are actively waging an effort to undermine the 2026 elections.
Let that sink in. The Brennan Center is calling routine election security measures an unprecedented effort to undermine elections. Now, Waldman isn't alone in tipping off the globalist plans. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, often touted as a possible 2028 Democratic presidential candidate, kind of spilled the beans in a recent interview.
What do you assume the president's approach is? He's talked about redistricting, gerrymandering, but do you assume that the president will be doing more to interfere, from your point of view, with the results?
I think it would be a mistake to assume that they're not going to. So I don't know precisely what it is that they might come up with, but we've got smart, sophisticated, savvy people around the tabletop that we will continue to get prepared.
Around the tabletop. That's that word again. And then when the interviewer pressed her on the details, here's what she said.
There are important reasons that I'm not going into a whole lot more detail on that, Steve. I think, I'll just leave it at this. We've got some brilliant folks who are working on this, and we will be prepared.
Think about that. The governor of a key battleground state just told you there are some brilliant folks working around the tabletop to prepare for the 2026 elections. She used the exact language of the 2024 wargaming operations, and then she refused to get specific. I wonder why. So if you're beginning to realize that the fight for the midterms is being waged on a battlefield most people don't even know exists, you need to subscribe to Promethean Action's free newsletter. We've been exposing these operations for decades, and we'll help you see what's really happening so you can fight it. So please head on over to the Promethean Action website and subscribe. Because the elites are really in a mortal terror. They see in President Trump's second term a full-on declaration of war against their globalist system and a revival of the American system. And all they can do now is to try and cut it off by running their war games and their psychological operations to deny the president a Congress that will work with him, and they would like to give him a Congress that will impeach him. Now, we just saw that strategy in action in Texas. On January 31st, a special election for a Texas state Senate seat turned into a warning shot. A district that Donald Trump carried by 17 points in 2024 saw the Republican candidate lose in what should have been an absolutely safe race.
I remember that.
Now, let's go back to that interview with the Brennan Center's Mike Waldman and look at when it was recorded. It was recorded back on December 10th. And here's what Walden said then about how Democrats could flip back voters who had voted for Trump in 2024.
And in Texas in particular, for example, what they aimed to do was move some more Democratic voters out of Democratic districts and in fact to try to flip some of the southern Texas districts that have been, to many people's surprise, moving toward the Republicans, even though they're heavily Hispanic. But that kind of assumed that the voting patterns in that community would stay the same as they were in 2024, when Donald Trump won a very substantial share of the Latino vote all over the country. The ICE raids, the brutality, and all these other things we've seen seem to be pushing that community back toward, in a sense, more traditional partisan landing spot in the Democratic Party.
Did you hear that? They were counting on the anti-ICE provocations. This is a month before things really
That and just a quick pause on that because we got more to go. But Robert, do you? I'm agree with her on her assumption of using ICE protests for that same goal, just to kind of flip the Latino vote, because the Latino vote in 2024 was crucial for Donald Trump to win many states. And by doing so, it is like a reel them in back to the Democratic Party of saying, you see, they're not treating you right. They are violating your rights. The Republican Party is not for you. You voted wrong. And that kind of permeate in the people's mind and perception. And either they don't vote or they vote to the left. And that's why they keep perpetuating these ICE raids and try to defund ICE and DHS and HSI because they want to portray the optics of we're fighting for you.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's like hitting the nail on the head, because that is it. This is why they were hyper focusing the every time ICE met with any illegal, even though they were childish rapists or I'm sorry to use the word, even if they were, convicted criminals, even, they would do this because now they're embedding all this memory in all the Hispanics. And I know somebody that voted for Donald Trump that because of this, they're just like, I feel like I regret my vote. And it's like, once I start talking to them and actually start showing him, hey, Tom Homan said this before they were elected, before Donald Trump won the election, that this is what they were going to do. And they're just keeping their word. And it's kind of shame on the government of the governors and of the city or the mayors that they're not playing ball when they could have just done this. And then they're like, Yeah, he did say, "Oh my gosh," and then it's kind of like, they forget. And again, the Bible wasn't wrong calling us sheep, because we are. And we can easily forget this. That's why it's important to have these kind of, outlets where you can hear other people's opinions, whether left or right, so you won't be stuck in a echo chamber, and open up your mind to the possibility that we are being manufactured. And this is clearly what you just described. The Southern Texans people they're looking to basically manufacture you guys to vote left by sending more left people to be over there to make sure it becomes an echo chamber, so you can hear ICE, 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 malo, 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 bad, 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 ICE. And you think of that, Donald Trump, remember ICE, Donald Trump, remember ICE, okay, vote this way. And it seems to be a strategy that might work. But if we get these restriction voting rules, it's going to make people not move, because again, if they don't check for ID, how do you know if they're there or not? So
I know, and that's a plan. That's a plan, just to eliminate or not have an ID to be shown. And like you were mentioning in the beginning, they will just drive 5-10 minutes down the road, go to another precinct, and vote again, and drive another 20 minutes and vote again, and so forth. One person throughout almost 10 hours of voting, it could easily vote 20 times.
Yep.
Especially if you do early voting, bro, you can do that multiple days, every day, multiple times every day. So let's continue watching this. This is very interesting, and people need to wake up. Honestly, people need to wake up, because they are falling asleep on the wheel and not seeing what is in front of them. Because this is plain simple, man. This is just interfaces.
But
This
it's
is
not
all.
but it's not drama, so it's not entertaining for these people, man.
I
You know
know
what
they
I
just looking. They just look at eyes. They're not focusing on what really is going on.
Escalated in Minnesota. They predicted that the violence and the media hysteria would push Latino voters away from Trump, and in Texas, it worked. And you can bet that people at the higher levels of the empire have no problem with people getting killed. And that's what happened in January. The Minneapolis shootings, the rioting, all of it fed the narrative that Trump is an authoritarian. And then the empires turned that narrative into votes in a Texas special election. That's how wargaming really works. It's not just about the operational side of stealing votes, as important as that is. It's about carrying out the kind of full-spectrum psychological warfare that traps people in the globalist narrative and manipulates them into voting against their own interests. So how do you defeat that? Well, you put people in the real world of economic growth that is being built by the Trump administration. And here's the irony. In that Texas race, the Democratic candidate talked about economics, jobs, and wages, while the Republican candidate pulled out the tired old Karl Rove Bush playbook on social issues. Think about that. The Democrat stole Trump's economic message while the Republican ran away from it. And it's even worse. Across the country, deep state Republicans are telling candidates to distance themselves from Donald Trump. Here's what a former chairman of the Michigan Republican Party said. Michigan GOP can sweep 2026, stick to issues, avoid Trump. Now that is a losing formula, and it's not an accident because it's designed to lose. But the winning formula already exists, and the Trump administration is laying it out every single day. The winning formula is the American system, and in the past few weeks, the Trump administration has put the globalists on notice. Your system is finished. Last week, Vice President J.D. Vance opened the critical minerals ministerial meeting in D.C. with a frontal attack on one of the key pillars of the British imperial system, their control of raw materials through cartels and their three trade policies.
We see telltale signs of a market distorted beyond recognition, one that punishes strategic investment, one that punishes diversification, and one that punishes long-term planning. This is crazy, We should have the kind of global markets, the kind of domestic markets that reward long-term planning, that reward strategic thinking, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. I think every single one of us represented in this room has become dependent on arrangements we did not choose, and right now, arrangements that we cannot control. We all face the same vulnerability: access to the things that protect our people and sustain our way of life. Everything from missile defense systems to energy infrastructure to advanced manufacturing to emerging technologies. The fundamental supply chains that support these industries sometimes can vanish in the blink of an eye without any control or influence from many of the countries in this room. And we in the Trump administration believe it is the business of the government, of the people's government elected just over a year ago, to confront such problems.
Did you catch that? He said that giving up the ability to develop your own critical minerals is crazy. And it is. Losing control over vital sections of your economy, like minerals and rare earths or food, is a hallmark of imperialism. It gives the globalists enormous power to economically blackmail nations. Now, this administration initiative on strategic minerals, called Project Vault, isn't just for the United States. It's open to participation by other countries. And believe me, the empire doesn't like that. This blow for economic sovereignty follows on the administration's Davos offensive, where the Trump team declared globalization dead. And that came right on the heels of an earlier interview by U.S. Trade Ambassador Jameson Greer. He did a no-holds-barred takedown of the British free trade dogma in an interview with The Economist.
Here's World Trade Organization agreements, here's NAFTA, here are these other trade agreements, and they're set in stone, and they will never change, even if it leads to offshoring of America, even if it means manufacturing lossing, even if it means that China becomes the biggest manufacturer in the United States. It's a suicide pact and we have to stick to it. That's crazy, right? That is a recipe for losing your sovereignty and your economic vitality, and we can't have that.
Think about that. The U.S. Trade Representative just called the last 30 years of trade policy a suicide pact. And he did it in an interview with The Economist, which is the editorial flagship of the City of London. Now, here's the historical context that almost no one is giving you. The policies being talked about by Greer and Vance are an open revival of the American system. The British Empire that thought they had finished off these policies over 100 years ago with the assassination of William McKinley in 1901. President McKinley was the last aggressive user of tariffs, the last proponent of the American system of Hamilton and Lincoln. And after McKinley, we got the Federal Reserve, imperial wars, and the Anglo-American special relationship. That's what's so extraordinary about this moment. The administration's full-on embrace of American system principles actually defines what it means to make America sovereign again. And it is the message that wins elections because it will change people's lives. So let's step back and see what's really happening. The globalists are already running their tabletop war games to rig the 2026 midterms. They're pre-positioning the threat to democracy narrative to delegitimize any Trump victory. And they're testing their psychological operations in places like Texas and Minneapolis. But here's what they can't stop. They can't stop the factories being built, or the mortgage rates coming down, or the tariffs that are reshoring American industry and bringing jobs back. The American system is winning, and that's why they're desperate. Our job, and I mean all of us, is to make sure that the midterm campaigns are fought on this ground. The ground of economic growth and sovereignty, not on the ground the empire has prepared for us. Promethean Action is doing just that. We're building a movement that will defeat these operations by backing President Trump's economic revolution.
So, Robert, what are your thoughts before we closing out? What are your thoughts on this? Because this is very interesting on the standpoint of economical. To be honest with you, because this is not a side that a lot of people are looking at. People are just focused on the moment of what's going on, and they're not looking at the long term implications of us. Literally, people right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, people right now feel like they are on a hamster wheel. They just They get up in the morning, they go to work, they pay the bills, they go back home tired. They don't have time for the spouses, they don't have time for their children, and the next day wake up and repeat again. And they just feel on that wheel and to nowhere. They just like on the same spot. Do you think that is that's the economical I would say pattern of the imperialism of the British Empire that basically captured United States again after basically 100 and some years free? They kind of recapture us and be like, you become the slave now. You're working for the crown, and that's why the crown was able to make, because the crown never makes, they never work. They just get money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I always asking myself like, what do they do? What the British
Yeah,
they
they
just
don't even make laws. They don't do anything. They just collect money. That's it. They don't worry about votes. They don't do anything. And you're right, and I think she touched that the last time about how, we are being captured, and it almost seems that way. And I believe it. I do. I mean, I can see it. And we do seem like we're in a hamster wheel, you know, just going, taking breaks, going into a little dome, clear dome that the hamsters sleep in, get back on the wheel, and it feels like that. And Donald Trump is a threat to them, and this is why they hate him. This is why all of the people wanted you not to vote for him. And I do agree that there is a battle going on behind the scenes, and we're
yeah.
seeing it, but we're so distracted. And again, maybe the Jeffrey Epstein thing is part of the distraction, and this is why Trump is really focused. Because I will say this: the Jeffrey Epstein is a huge thing, but it's not the only thing. Even though I ranted yesterday, and I still believe that we're finding out that Epstein is more than what it is. But
But it seems to
he's
be, yeah.
yeah, but he's just one little problem out of many other problems. We're being attacked by all fronts. And I think we said this before. Nick Shirley brought it up. The voting thing is bringing it up. The Venezuela thing that was going on. The China and Panama that's going on. The deep state funding the wars in Israel that's going
Hmm.
around. The funding of the war between Russia and Ukraine that's going around, the Greenland situation. I mean, there's just so many issues. We're being attacked all by different areas, and all these people, and when I mean people, I mean England, China, all these other countries, they don't want America that we were before. They don't want that American values and the American pride and American patriots to stand up and take our country back again. It's because they won't benefit out of it, and it's we're a fight, and that's why I'm saying vote. Your voting matters, and ID voting does matter, and we just got to keep whoever. If you're a Republican, try to reason with the most logical Democrat. Now, I'm not gonna. I get it. There's some of them are too far gone, but you know which ones they are. The ones that are kind of in the fence. It is worth discussing it. Not getting mad, not pushing them, not calling them names, not saying they're idiots or any of that, but just try to reason with them, and educate them, and in terms educating yourself as well. So that's what we got to do. That's the only battle we can do, but. I don't think it's hopeless, Julio. And I don't think that we should give up. But at the same time, we need to know when to choose a battle, or when to fight for a person that's, you know, um, it's worth fighting for, basically,
I
because I'm
know,
not
I
going to
know.
argue with somebody like I'm arguing to a wall. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. It is so many aspects that we fight in this battle, and that's why they always criticizing Donald Trump pulling out of uh, Paris Court, pulling out of WHO, pulling out of WEF, pulling out of NATO, pulling out of these people that always being capture America economy kidnapped. They basically they hostage, and they're always draining money out of our system. And that's why they're always criticizing the tariff, like, oh, the tariff do not work. That is hurting Americans. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, when you look at the numbers of the money that he has collected for tariff, they don't say anything about it. They don't say how much money, and it's already up in the billions every month into our coffins, and we are getting our balance sheets balanced, and we getting our books in order, and they don't like it. They want us to be keep working so everybody in the entire planet live off the interest they make on our taxpayers money.
Yep.
That's so, like, they look at United States as a investment, like, okay, we're gonna buy their bonds, so we're gonna live off of them. And that's what they want. They want us the slave for the next 150 years.
We're
So
the
they be,
cow that keeps on giving milk.
yeah. So I guarantee you, man, if Donald Trump pulls us out completely, and we have the Senate, and we have the 2028 election, and everything looking better every year, a lot of people gonna like that model, and it will be the end of the Democratic Party as we know it, because they will not like that at all. To be honest, they would not like that at all. They would not like to be uh, demonstrate that their economy system does not work, and the Republicans need to keep this MAGA movement and this American First agenda alive, because if we let it die in 2026 and 2028, we are back to square one.
Yep.
They're gonna put us back in chain. Basically, they're gonna put it back in WHO. They're gonna put it back on with WEF. They're gonna sign America back to the Paris Accord. They're gonna sign us back to NATO, and before we know it, we'll be signing
We're
money out
back in
every single one.
chains.
Yeah,
Back in chains.
and the economy will tank again, and we'll be paying $350 a gallon of gas. Like everything will just skyrocket. That's the way I see it. And
I
it
agree.
happened 2020, and best believe this is going to happen again once the Democrat get back in order, because they will everything will skyrocket, and then they will blame Donald Trump again because his economy stands, and they will like, you see, this is just this is the product of Donald Trump. This is the result. It's not us. We're going to try to fix it. At the end of and the end of 4 years, it will be worse than the year they started. So I'm telling you, this is just and clip this, because we might have to come back 4 years from now, and and we'll be like, remember that day we told you about it?
I'm
Look
gonna be
now.
like that Alex Jones screaming.
I told you so. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna post the video of the lady Susan
Yeah.
Condite. I'm gonna post it on our page right now. It's gonna be in there. I will just post. Let me see. Yeah, I just posted. I'm gonna just share it in all these groups that we are on, so you are going to be informed. I mean, she dropping dimes, she dropping gems of information. I love to see her every week. So if you haven't do so, or if you're on X, go to Prometheus Action and sign up for the newsletter. I sign up. I get it every morning. I just sign up now, so I will get mine every morning, and I will keep me update on what is going on, because I always see it like who have the better, I would say, agenda. But now seeing the economic standpoint,
The way she
it,
breaks it down.
yeah, the way she break it down, it makes perfect sense, and why all these European countries are mad at us now. So I understand now why Donald Trump pulled the plug on them.
Yep.
He basically, we have the European countries or the European continent on life support, and Donald Trump just pulled the plug. He just like, oops, I trip on the plug, and the machine went flatline. So, Robert,
Excuse
before
me.
we depart, I would like to say something. I know I've been talking and rambling like
No, you're
forever.
good. You're good.
I would like to make sure you guys please like and subscribe. It's freaking free. It will not cost you a dime. Just go ahead, give us a like. If you don't like our content and you criticize us, that's fine. I care less. We still love you anyway.
Yep.
Just let us know what do you like to see for the next subject. We are open to conversation. We are getting a lot of dirt on Facebook because we post controversial and we make people think, and we get backlash every single time, especially in the last couple of days about this Epstein files. Hey, but it is what it is. I will not keep my mouth shut. If you do, you are beta. So
Beta.
yeah.
Beta.
I have it. I have it right here. I will next time we'll have it on
Hey,
cue.
yeah, have it in the button already.
Yeah, I will have it on cue. Let me see if I can have it now. See real quick. Cause I had it the other day and I was like, man, I laughed so hard.
Yeah, we need to program it on the board.
I need to. I need to. I know I have it somewhere, but I need to record it. Yeah. I need to have it on cue. So anyway, Robert, thank you so much again, brother. I see you tomorrow, Friday evening, 7:30 Central Time for our evening roundup. It will be a crazy episode tomorrow. We got more news. We
We
went
could
almost two
we
hours
could
today.
probably start tomorrow early, if you
Yeah. At
want.
what time you
Maybe
want to do it tomorrow? 7, 6,
maybe we could do it like 4 or
6:30?
5. I mean that early. It's whatever because my kids don't go to school and
Okay, let's do it for my kids go to school. So you know what, brother? Let's do 5:30. 5:30
5:30.
Central.
Yep.
5:30. So meet us tomorrow, 5:30. I'm gonna do the thumbnail for tomorrow. You're gonna see it on your screen popping up. Just meet us tomorrow here at 5:30 Central Time. We're gonna have a special show. Let me contact a couple people, see if they can jump in real quick. Let's see if we can get Adam Francisco or Wise to jump in on our stream tomorrow. So anyway, thank you so much. God bless America. God bless our troops, and God bless you. See you tomorrow. Remember, 5:30. Don't
5:30.
miss it. It's gonna be a great show.